You have no fucking clue. And we are live. Yes, we're live. And I'm sure that what we're going to give you right now is going to be a hell of a lot more entertaining than what went on that pitch today. I'm joined today by the one and the only Matthew McFadden. Matthew, how you doing, man?
You know what? See, considering we just lost the game, I'm actually doing quite well. It was a funny game to watch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it was definitely funny. That's for sure. I mean, we had Phil Jones, and he wasn't even wearing his freaking peak boots, Marcus. And
he wasn't even wearing any boots.
He was wearing white boots, apparently. And yet somehow he still managed to be at fault for both goals today. One of them he put in by himself. It was actually a pretty decent goal. Like, what an absolutely disgusting performance from everybody involved. From the players that were out on the pitch to Mourinho's tactics that he chose to throw out there. That was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, Matthew, give me your initial thoughts on the match, man.
See, to be honest, it was one of the worst games I've seen. It took about, 70 minutes to get one shot on target?
I honestly don't remember. They said we had a shot on target, and I was like, I don't remember the shot on target we had other than the Andres Pereira shot.
I was probably looking away, doing something more productive with my time. Because, to be honest, that was just a waste of 90 minutes. You've got 2 youth players on the bench and you don't play them. Yeah, I get it. You're maybe trying to chase a game. But still, just chuck them on for like 10 minutes or something.
Well, talk about the fact that Lukaku was chasing his first touch around all night long, again, as per usual. But you have Mason Greenwood sitting on the bench who's scoring goals for fun for our youth team. And yet he cannot get a sniff out onto the pitch. Like, this kid, Mason Greenwood, is the real deal. He's the real deal. He's somebody that needs to be given a chance, and we need to figure out what we actually have in him. And yet you know for a fact that under Jose Mourinho, you will never, ever see Greenwood other than maybe the last 5 minutes of the last game of the year. You know that. 100% fact. Real quick, just wanted to
see a Premier League game. It'll be a FA Cup game against Yeovil Town or something like that.
Oh, dude. No, Yeovil Town's too big of a club for him to play against.
Like, they're in the championship is too much of a risk.
But, I mean, real quick, just wanted to shout it out. Just want to say hi to Saban, AFAF, Ryan Beals, Christopher Alley, Dan Jones, Chris McTeague. Good to see you guys all in here. Listen, I'm at a loss for words, guys. Like, and this is also why I said in my review of the Fulham game that we needed to be cautious with being super optimistic about winning 4-1 against Fulham. Fulham aren't that good of a team. Let's be real. Valencia aren't that good of a team. And yet we just made Valencia look good. And people are going to be like, oh, you got the Pogba, you got the Pereira, you got the Fred, you got all these guys. The tactics were set up to fail from the start. And Ryan, you're right. I mean, Matthew, here we already got our first Lee Grant comment. Lee Grant would have saved us. We all know it.
Lee Grant would have scored a hat trick. I'll tell you that for nothing.
Oh, dude, like Lee Grant would have.
First touch on Lukaku.
He would have saved all the goals. He would have scored all the goals. We probably would have won 10-0 because Lee Grant was putting them in as well as saving them.
He would have taken over United as well.
Yes. Actually, what you don't know is Lee Grant is scheduled to take over for Ed Woodward.
He would have sorted out Brexit too.
Yes. No, very true. Very, very true. And so, Chris McTeague, you said it just what I was going to be bringing in as a first point to talk about. We had no width today whatsoever, and it was brutally obvious.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you had no Rashford, you had no Lingard, even Mata, who's not great on the wings, like, he didn't even really see the wings today. We played so central. It was ridiculous. I mean, Matthew, like that to me was what is the one unexcusable thing about this match is that you took Andres Pereira, who Jose is the one that decided to take him from playing on the wings to playing as a midfield guy. And yet he expected him to go out and go play on the wings today and put in a good performance as a winger. I mean, why do you think that we didn't have any width today?
I think you're going to have a narrow midfield with the likes of Pereira, Pogba, Fred, Fellaini, Mata, at least have overlapping fullbacks, not Marcus Rojo.
Yeah.
Who, he's all right as a centre-back, but one of the worst left-backs I've seen in my life. But yeah, I think we're all to some extent excited to see those three playing, Pogba, Fred and Pereira. Let's be fair, all three of them were rubbish.
Yeah.
When you consider Fellaini was in there, Pereira was obviously going to have to be played out wide.
Yep.
And that was the first thing I thought when I saw that team sheet. There's absolutely no width there. The only wide player who actually plays wide is Valencia. And when you're a wide player, you've got to put in crosses, and Valencia hasn't put in a cross since about 2014.
Well, I honestly don't think that Valencia's put in a cross ever in his career for Manchester United. Like, let's be real about it. But, I mean, and Pankaj brings up a good point here, too, is that we always play so bad against Spanish sides. I don't get it. I personally don't get it. We struggled against them at home. We struggled against them today. And, guys, just, the reason why I'm not wearing a Manchester United jersey today is because I couldn't be asked to go change my shirt after that match. Phoenix Rising is the only club that that right now I've got faith to do the right thing. That's how sad right now things are at Manchester United. Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, I have less faith to do the right thing than Phoenix Rising, who are a USL club. Absolutely pathetic.
I've got my Phoenix Rising shirt right ahead of me right now, and I'm thinking that's more of a football club.
Yeah.
Man United at the moment.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, like, Phoenix Rising, like, they brought back all the players they needed to, and we're making good signings. And, like, I've seen a couple people mention it already here about some of the signings they think we need to do. And listen, I completely agree. Right now, get Phil Jones the fuck out of Manchester United, because I am sick and tired of this pink boot wearing son of a bitch stealing a living from Manchester United. I'm absolutely sick of it. This guy has, and here was a fun stat for you guys today. So the last person to score an own goal for Manchester United was back in 2011, and that was Phil Jones. Phil Jones has been at this club since 2011, and yet somehow he's still putting in goals for the other team. Like, God, get him out of this club. Phil Jones is so bad, and yet we continue to run him out there. Like, Christopher Alley said it, Koulibaly needs to be brought in. Like, listen, bring in Matthew and myself, and we'll play better than Phil Jones. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Can you imagine me on the end of a corner?
Oh,
smashing in goals of that forward.
With your 6'5" and your exactly. Like 102-inch flat screen TV forehead, Matthew, we're guaranteed goals. Guaranteed. But like, let's go ahead and let's jump to this real quick. I mean, Matthew, is there anybody for Manchester United that stood out today as having a good game?
Having a good game in terms of footballing ability, no one. But having a good game in terms of entertainment factor, Phil Jones was mad this season. He's someone who gives us all hope in life. That if he can stay at the biggest club in the world for 8 years now,
yeah,
we can all achieve something. He's an inspiration. And for that, I'm eternally thankful for him.
Ryan Beale's comment of the day, Phil Jones should be an informed FIFA card. 2019. Oh, dude. Extension guaranteed after that match. Like, listen, I'm sick of people stealing a living from Manchester United. I don't care who it is. If let me put it this way. If you think Paul Pogba was a problem today and you think he's stealing a living, I get it. If you think that Marcus Rashford is stealing a living at Manchester United, I get it. I get it from any player that you wanted to talk about today. because I put it both on the players and the manager, because this game was absolutely horrendous. Overall, this game was absolutely horrendous. Honestly, this game was as entertaining as the last game against Valencia. Just we got a couple of goals. Simple as. I mean, Matthew, we talked about it off stream that we had more fun tweeting than we did actually watching the match.
Yeah, I had more fun trying to come up with silly jokes.
And genuinely
watch that. It was actually a funny game to watch because of that second goal from Phil Jones. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I just laughed at it. It was one of the funniest things I've seen. I didn't care that we were 2-0 down. I just thought that's a good moment there. I'll go down in history.
It's one of those moments that you're always going to remember as being like, wow, that was actually a decent finish. Just too bad it's in our own net. Like, genuinely, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, Dan Jones.
He's on a football and Brandon and United stand more channel. About Phil Jones, and it's absolutely sensational.
Listen, I wasn't able to be on the United Stand today because we were kind of making sure that some other people could watch the match today because they didn't have their cable. So I wasn't able to have all the things running. But I know for a fact I'm going to be back in the United Stand live comments because especially for this game coming up against Liverpool, I'm going to need a little bit of entertainment because with that performance that we just put in right there, once again, I'm going to have no confidence going in that we're going to get a win. But at the same time, I'm never going to predict a Manchester United loss to Liverpool ever. Like, and Sophie, you just said it. Absolute bore fest. Absolute bore fest. Like, I was genuinely more happy tweeting than I was watching the game. That's how bad things are at Manchester United right now, that we're actually getting more jollies off of social media, just like the club are, than we are getting off of the actual team. And so real quick, United Central, 11 strangers on the pitch created by a manager who doesn't spend enough time on intensity and match rhythm. Look at Valencia, 15th in the table, but will still not shy about their philosophy. You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. Like, that was a fantastic comment, Saeed. Like, beautiful. But guys, let's go ahead. I mean, we'll get into this match a little bit here, and let's start off. We're going to talk about our player ratings. Matthew, we'll talk about Sergio Romero first. I mean, I feel like the first goal he probably could have saved, maybe, but at the same time, it did go through two players' legs. I mean, what did you think about Romero today? And give me a rating for him, Matthew. Uh-oh, did we lose Matthew?
Sorry, I had myself on mute because I'm an absolute idiot.
No, you're all good, man.
Yeah, so this is going to be a hard one to rate.
Well, honestly, all the players,
to be honest,
all the players are going to be hard to rate today. All of them. Like, I honestly don't know if anybody gets above a 6.
I don't know if anyone gets a 6.
And that's fair too. Nobody deserves to get a praise from this match other than the fact that Marcus Rashford actually had a pretty decent header. Marcus Rashford actually had a pretty decent header, which is a bit of a surprise.
I didn't even see his goal.
So his header that he put in was a good goal. I'm going to give him that. That was a good goal from Marcus Rashford. But, I mean, I personally would give Sergio Romero a 5. I don't think he did anything special. But at the same time, like, were the goals really all that much his fault?
No, not really. I'd say a 5 is probably fair.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I'm going to give him a 5 just because of the simple fact that, I mean, he hasn't played any time recently. And the fact that, I mean, he did have Phil Jones literally give the ball back to the guy and then score an own goal. I mean, like, there's not a lot you could do about that. But we'll go on to Valencia, who Antonio Valencia had a pretty bad performance today. And apparently, I think it was you that said it, that he was told he had to go back out on the pitch to clap at the Manchester United fans.
The guy's a club captain, and apparently, again, we haven't seen exact proof of this, so it could just all be made up. But yeah, apparently he had to be instructed by Jose Mourinho, someone who doesn't show much ambition, had to be shown by him to go to the fans again to clap them, because he just went straight into the dressing room, or at least he was trying to, which I thought was absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
He probably should have been sent off. And even by Valencia standards, it was a terrible game. So I think a 4 is probably generous.
I mean, listen, I was going to give him a 4 too, because he was bad today. Valencia, the guy that was bought to replace Cristiano Ronaldo, is continuing another player that is stealing a living at Manchester United. Can't put in a cross, can't do anything. And like Saban just said, Valencia is finished. Valencia should never play another match for Manchester United ever again. Ever again.
Especially with how good Dillot's been playing. I know that he's only played about 2 games, but that most recent game, Fulham, that Fulham game was unbelievable for him. He put in more good crosses in that game than Valencia has his entire United career.
Oh, Dillot has put in more crosses in 3 games than I guarantee you Antonio Valencia has literally in going back to his youth career. That's how many he put in more crosses in that good crosses in that time, guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. But good to see so many people in here, guys. I'm really happy to have you guys here. And to the one person that liked to say, ew, he's an American, guess what? You don't have to watch, buddy. Just saying. I actually think I've got some pretty decent opinions. And I think that a lot of people here would probably agree. So that's the last time I'm going to give you any attention. But we'll move on to our favorite player ever, Phil Jones. I mean, obviously 10 out of 10 performance, right?
I don't think numbers do justice.
Listen, in all reality, I'm giving Phil Jones a 2. He was that bad. Phil Jones was so bad today. And just I honestly think that he could be given less than a 2, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, what do you give? What do you give him, Matthew?
Honestly, 1 out of 10. What did he actually do?
Nothing. Like Phil Jones, and we already talked about it. Phil Jones is stealing a living at Manchester United. Stealing a living. And he's continuing to steal his living since apparently all the way back to 2011, guaranteed that he's been stealing a living. Like, Phil Jones should never play another match for Manchester United either. Bring in literally anybody, and I guarantee you they'll play better than Phil Jones. Guaranteed. But, okay, well, let's say, no, I'm going to be okay with that. Let's give Phil Jones a 1. I'm giving Phil Jones a 1. Let's do it. So, Eric Bailly, bit of a difficult one to rate, but I think that he had an okay game, not a good game. But he's probably the only defender that I think really did anything decent in the game.
Yeah, it's probably fair. In terms of rating, I'd maybe give him a 5, maybe a 6 at a push.
Yeah.
But then again, you're conceding 2 goals to 15th place in La Liga.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, man. And I'm going to give him a 5.5 because, like you said, conceding 2 goals to a 15th place team. And like Pancaz was saying, I don't get why we struggle so hard against Spanish teams. I just don't. Like, ultimately, I mean, I think Eric Bailly is somebody that we're going to need to rely on here for a while. Give him that confidence. Let him continue to go back out there, keep doing what he's doing, because I think Eric Bailly on confidence is our best center back without question. Without question.
Oh, yeah.
But then we'll kind of, we'll talk about both of them at the same time because he did get taken off at halftime. So what was your opinion on Marcos Rojo today?
He's just not left back.
Yeah.
He's one of the worst left backs I've seen because he plays like a centre back at left back, and you can't do that, especially when there's a lack of width on the left hand side with Pereira. So again, probably 4 maybe.
Yeah,
I think the defence is hard to rate in terms of is it a 0 to a 5? What number? You can literally say any number,
and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And listen,
Phil Jones 0 and 0.
And listen, I completely agree with you. Real quick, MJ, I completely agree with you. We need more technical players. We do. And this is where I think that talking about Marcos Rojo, who I believe is somebody that is a good center back, but should never be playing left back for Manchester United. He's not that kind of player for that position. If you were playing a back three, I could actually say, yeah, put him at that left center back position, and I think that he would be good at getting the ball out from the back.
Yeah.
Like
a left-sided Lindelof.
Yeah, exactly.
Although he's a bit more of a shadows player.
Yes. And here's the thing. We all know that Marcos Rojo does have the tendency to put in a bit of a rash challenge at times, which that's something that we didn't even talk about with Valencia. He was genuinely a lucky guy to not wind up getting a red card on that challenge. Like, genuinely lucky. We're crying out for wingers as well. Too slow. Listen, MJ, you're absolutely right on that, because you saw what Dembele did yesterday against Tottenham, and that was a hell of a goal. A hell of a goal from him. I would have loved to have had Dembele here 2 years ago. I would have. But ultimately, I don't think that there's any point in trying to get him anymore. So, but what would you give Ashley Young, who came on? He did get the assist, but ultimately, I don't think he really did any much more than that.
No, to be perfectly honest, I'm not going to say I barely watched the second half. I still watched some of it. A rating, I honestly don't know. Could be a 5, could be a 6, could be anything.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I didn't see the goal because I rage quit. I was about 75 minutes in and I thought, I can't be asked for this anymore. And so he could have put out 10 out of 10 performance in the last 15 minutes. I've got no idea.
Well, and listen, I completely agree with you that I think that at the end of the day, Ashley Young, honestly, the entire second half was just weird because I felt like and I watched pretty well. Because I was doing Twitter from my laptop and I was looking over the laptop, ultimately, Ashley Young did okay. Wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. But that's where we're at with Manchester United right now, is that we're saying he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. I remember a day when Manchester United, we would be talking about, yeah, he put in a good performance, but it wasn't a great performance. I miss those days. I miss the days where we actually were able to talk positively all the time about our club. Because, guys, I know this is probably coming as a bit of a surprise, since most of my videos that have been very popular on here have been talking absolute shit about our club. Because our club right now is absolute shit. But I am actually a positive person, and Matthew can attest to this too. I am a positive person. But Manchester United and the club and the way that it's being run right now, from top to bottom, because like I said, I'm not putting all the blame on Mourinho, but Mourinho is the easy one to get gone quickly. But we have problems from up here to down here, from all the way up at the ownership level to all the way down at the player level. We've got problems everywhere. And until that changes, sucks. Oh, well, we're going to have to deal with it. Something needs to change. But I'll give Ashley Young a 5 because his assist was pretty good to Marcus Rashford. That's the only reason why. So, Mourinho confirmed that Lingard, Rashford, and Young will start versus Liverpool. Good, Dan, thank you for that information. Ryan Bills, he said, we could say goodbye to Fred, Andres, De Gea, Martial, Pogba, and anyone else in the club who's worth a damn. Listen, you're probably right, too.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll honestly be shocked if I see Fred play another minute in the next couple of months.
Dude, I completely agree.
Even though he was diabolical today, genuinely horrific, he barely had a single chance.
Yeah. Listen, Fred was the least of the problems today. Genuinely, I believe that. He wasn't good by any means. But when you're being forced to play in a system that isn't allowing you the freedom to do things, I completely agree with you that was probably the last time we will see Fred under Mourinho. That's probably the last time. So, Kazim, you said, do you blame Mourinho or the players? I think all those players are fed up, and the only player who plays well are the players who are United fans. Rashford, Young, Lingard, Mata. Listen, That's a great question. And honestly, I believe that the problems at this club are genuinely from the top down. We have problems from the ownership level to the player level. We have a problem with the manager. We've got problems everywhere. And until at the very least, the easiest thing to change, because at the end of the day, guys, we can't force the Glazers to sell Manchester United. We just can't. It's the truth. And the easiest thing to do is to get rid of the manager that is having the players play a tactic and play in tactics that are not beneficial to the team. This is why I said after the Fulham match, do not overrate what just happened on that pitch. Do not do it. Because at the end of the day, I knew that this performance that came today was coming. It was coming. Guaranteed. So let's go ahead. We'll move on to Fellaini. I mean, Fellaini was the invisible man today, in my opinion, Matthew. What did you think of him?
He's been like that for ages now. He had a good run, maybe about, I think it was end of August to like the start of October, where he actually was putting in some solid performances and then in the number 6 position, right behind the 2 central midfielders, but he's just been invisible. When you're going so defensive, you don't need someone like Fellaini.
Yeah. Listen,
what I'm going to say here is just some, don't want to say breaking news or whatever. Seems like Fred actually might have his possession in the United midfield secured, because McTominay is apparently just liked an Instagram post with the caption, "Such a lazy team. Fellaini is not a starter. He's a super sub, so keep him that way. Either way, he's more of a defensive player, which is something we don't need. We need to attack. Valencia should be replaced by Dolo, crucially, in Sel Jones." That Scott McTominay is like that. One of the worst players to ever play for this club. And that is one of the best things he's ever done.
Scott McTominay confirmed, never playing again for Mourinho, guys. You heard it here first. Scott McTominay will never play again for Mourinho.
The screenshot I've just seen is genuine. It could be photoshopped. However, I don't think it is.
Listen, that's absolutely hilarious.
Actually, I'll post a link to it in the chat.
Do it. Yeah, definitely do it. And if you tweet it to me, I'll make sure to retweet it. But listen, guys, guaranteed. Yeah, Ryan, Scott McTominay, instant legend status. No, seriously though, guys. Like, Fellaini was the invisible man today. And like Matthew said, when we play that defensive, like, listen, I've said it before that I know that Fellaini actually serves a purpose for Manchester United, especially under Mourinho, but it shouldn't be playing as a CDM. It should be playing as the 10, getting forward and causing chaos in the box. Like, that's just the way, like, that's what he does best, is he causes chaos in the box. And yet I feel like we saw him in the box, like, what, once or twice today, Matthew?
Yeah, the guy's a centre forward, not a centre mid. And don't get me wrong, he'll do the occasional job there. But if you actually, I'm still 100% sell Fellaini. But if we've got him in the squad, you might as well try to play to Juicy somehow. And that's in the last 15 minutes when teams are knackers and you're hitting a long ball to try and get a result.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we've all said it, that we realize that Fellaini serves a purpose at Manchester United and especially under Mourinho. But it's not to play a CDM role. It's to go cause chaos in that box, because he does come up with the occasional good header, guys. He does. He does. I blame Gary Neville. How can a pundit be said? Like, listen, Kazim, the whole Neville thing is very confusing to me, because you would think that of all people that Gary Neville would realize how Manchester United should be playing, but yet he doesn't. For some reason, it's also because they come from a different era as a footballer. Like, they just do. And because of that, that's where the issue comes in. But I'm sorry, guys. Let's get more of these player ratings. I mean, Matthew, give me a rating on Pogba, because I want to talk about Pogba a little bit more.
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10?
In a game, you'd expect one of your bigger players. Like, this is the thing. We all know Pogba, in ability-wise, has absolutely world-class ability, but he's just woefully inconsistent.
Yeah. Listen, I agree. Listen, Pogba today was a very frustrating player. At times, he was the only player getting forward with any consistency. That's just my opinion. And I noticed it because he was the one making decent runs. But at a certain point in the second half, when he noticed that all the players weren't pushing forward with him, he stopped making those runs. And that's where my issue with Pogba comes in. Is like, at a certain point, he winds up running. He winds up stopping his runs. And I don't know if it's down to frustration. I don't know if it's down to, whatever it is. But Pogba is our most frustrating player. And I personally think that him under a new manager would be very beneficial, because then we will know what Pogba actually is for us. And George, listen, I agree. But I don't necessarily agree that Pogba's lazy. I don't necessarily agree. Because I think that Paul Pogba is somebody that is crying out to actually play the right way, the way that Manchester United should be playing, because he actually understands how Manchester United should be playing. But yet we don't play that way. We just don't. But I'm going to give Pogba a 4 out of 10 today, because he did not do much. He put in a couple of good passes. There was a pass in the first half that really stood out to me where, Matthew, I'm sure you remember it, where he was about at midfield and he kicked the ball all the way over to Valencia on the right wing. And the way that ball bent, absolutely phenomenal. He does things like that all the time and makes it look easy. It's where the frustrating part with Pogba comes in. It just sucks that we haven't gotten the Paul Pogba that was at Juventus. It just sucks. But let's go on. We'll move on to, what do you think, Andres Pereira?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Andres Pereira was a very frustrating player today too. But what do you really expect when you haven't played in 4 months?
Yeah, not a 5 out of 10 game, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think that will not play the game 4 months does hold a bit of weight in terms of his confidence and not effort levels, but overall sharpness. But I don't think that excuses the fact that he's missing 5-yard passes. It was a mix of him just being terrible on the day and the fact that he's not played in ages that just contributed to a pretty poor performance in all honesty.
Dallas Cowboys got Amari Cooper. Now they can evaluate Dak Prescott. So, Kazim, listen, that's an interesting comment, talking about how can you evaluate Pogba. Listen, we don't know what we have in Pogba still, which is really crazy to say about a $90 million signing. Just the truth. But at the end of the day, we're talking about Andres Pereira right now, so let's move on to that for now. I think Andres Pereira did okay today, especially considering the fact that he was out of the team for God knows how long. And, I feel bad for the guy. I do. I just genuinely feel bad for the guy that he really didn't do anything to deserve to be dropped out of the squad completely. And this is the first game he's gotten a chance to get back in. And then he just was going from being a midfielder to a winger in this game. That's the part that blew my mind. You ask him to go from playing a CDM role to a winger. And that's the Mourinho mentality. I don't understand. All these players were frustrating. Watching the game is like a priest watching the Playboy channel. You will only get blue-balled. Listen, fantastic comment there, Jay Hart. But, at the end of the day, guys, Pereira needs to be given a run of games. And I would love to see Pereira get that run. But Pereira did, and Matthew, we talked about it again off air, but I thought that shot that Pereira put in is just that small example of what he can do for Manchester United. That shot, that shot he rocketed in was amazing.
But at the same time, it just shows how bad the game was when we highlight one shot from Pereira that wasn't even on target.
It was. The keeper did have to save it.
Save from the keeper.
Yeah.
So that just shows how terrible the game was.
Oh, dude, I completely agree. Completely agree. Shows how bad the game was.
I think that was the last thing I saw of the game. Because that was about 75 minutes in, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It probably makes sense because, honestly, Andres Pereira, after about 50 minutes into the game, Pereira really started coming into his own in the game. But it goes to show that when you give a player a chance to play, he's actually pretty decent. So we'll move on to Juan Mata, who we've talked about this too, but I feel like Juan Mata at this point in his career is better served coming off the bench because he never is effective as a starter. I mean, how did you view Juan Mata today?
Again, another weird one. I don't necessarily think it was his game or it's his style of game, considering the position that he was playing in. The problem is, with Mata, you either play him as a number 10 or bring him off the bench. Don't play him as a right winger because he offers no width, and especially when you've got someone like Valencia who can't cross. So, in terms of rating, I'd maybe give him a 5, but you can't really blame him too much.
So, I mean, listen, I agree with you. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, like, you're asking a guy that, I mean, he really should be playing as a 10, but yet for some reason he gets played on the wings more. I don't understand. I don't understand it. But Juan Mata, I give him a 5 too, because like he didn't really have a bad effect on the game, but he didn't have a good one either. Just pretty much about as average as you could think of. Just he actually did have more of an effect on the game than Fellaini did. And I will say this, that chance that Pogba created for him where he chipped him in, that to me was like, I thought for sure, because we all know that the magician Juan Mata is somebody that will finish a chance like that. And when he missed it, it kind of like just disheartened me a little bit. Because like that chip that Pogba put in was phenomenal. And then he really should have like, Razek, I thought I did rate Pereira a 5. So if I didn't, that's my bad. But I give Pereira a 5. But Juan Mata gets a 5, and I do that because he really should have finished that chance that he had. He really should have. But we'll move on now to Fred, who again probably will never see the pitch again for Manchester United while Mourinho's here. I mean, Matthew, give me your thoughts on Fred.
Like you said, I don't think Fred's going to play for United again under Mourinho, unless he somehow slithers his way back into the squad after what McTominay did.
Yeah.
And look, he's not had a consistent run of games. However, that's not much of an excuse from the fact that he put in an absolute clanger today. His decision-making was just downright awful. There was loads of times where, even in the first half an hour, there was 2 passing options and one was blatantly a better passing option than the other, and he'd make the wrong choice. And it just frustrated me so much.
Yeah. Well, but this is where...
So in terms of a rating, 4 probably.
I was honestly going to give him a 4 too, but I think that Fred is a case of a player that's somebody that needs a run to get onto form. And we're just never going to see that with Fred. We just aren't. Because he'll have to have a great game to start to be able to get a run. And just, it does suck. It just does suck. And guys, listen, and Doug said it, this was ultimately a meaningless game. But at the same time, we had a chance to finish first in this group because Juventus blew it too. Juventus blew it today against young boys. That's even more inexcusable. We had a chance to finish first.
Had that chance.
Yeah. We had a chance to finish first, but we didn't claim it. And it's where bringing on somebody like Greenwood would have made sense. Bring in somebody that can bring in that little bit of like an optimism. You know, I'm frustrated, guys. I just really am. It's getting to the point now where like I don't trust any good game. I just don't. But we'll talk about Lukaku for a second, who is chasing around his first touch all game. Again, Matthew, give me a rating on Lukaku.
See, playing the ball to Lukaku is like throwing a little ball bearing, chucking it straight at something like a space hopper. You just don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Or like if you ever got a tennis racket, right, and smacked a marble with it, you've probably not. But that's Lukaku's first touch. Just goes absolutely everywhere.
Yeah,
you're probably going to lose an eye.
You just genuinely don't know what's going to happen with Lukaku. And it's crazy. Like, this is where I think we would have played Greenwood. Bring on Greenwood. See what he could do.
Even for the last 15 minutes.
Like,
because there's no harm in doing that. Yeah, it would have been hard for him to actually do something because we were terrible, but still just give him that little bit of experience.
Yeah.
He can say, I've played a European game with Man United at 17 years old.
I mean,
like, there's a reason why he's had to be promoted from the under 18 to the under 23 to 17 and is banging in goals.
Yeah.
Because he's that good.
And listen, we're going to continue to do these watch-alongs for the U23 games because I'm actually having fun watching the U23 team. Like, they're actually fun to watch. And real quick, there was I don't know the kid's name. I just don't know how to pronounce it more than anything. But there was a 14-year-old that made his debut in the UEFA Youth League today. And good on him.
What is it? His first name's Shola. I know that for sure.
I don't like to butcher people's names if I don't have to, you know? But if anybody knows how to pronounce his name, please put it in the chat because it's awesome to see that a 14-year-old was given a chance for Manchester United's youth team. Apparently the first time, like, the youngest player that's ever made a debut for the youth team. So awesome. Good for the kid. Good for him. And he definitely looks 14 too for the picture I saw of him. But Lukaku, to me, I'm going to give him a 4 because I think Lukaku he's somebody that hinders the team right now. And I just don't get like how we come back from international break and it's like Mourinho thought we were going to forget that he just had one of the worst run of forms of any player that we've ever seen. And yet he did, like, don't get me wrong, he's banged in a couple of goals since the international break, but they've both been absolute sitters that I think anybody here should be putting in. And let's be real, Pogba's
19th and 20th in the league. It's nothing to boast about.
Yeah, no,
something that he should be doing as a Premier League striker. Never mind a 75 to 90 million pounds player for United.
Exactly. I completely agree. Matthew. But I mean, do you really think that either of the other subs are really worth talking about? I mean, Rashford, I guess we should talk about because he did score the goal. I'll give Rashford a 6. Because he came on,
seems fair, I guess. Yeah.
Like he came on with such limited time. The header that he put in was very well worked. I'll give him the 6. And funny enough, for Manchester United, Marcus Rashford is probably the man of the match, which is really crazy to say. Like that he came on for 15 minutes and was the man of the match that quickly. But then Jesse Lingard, he really didn't have an effect on the game. I mean, he came on so late that it was going to be hard for him to have an effect. So I'll just give Jesse Lingard a 5. But I mean, Kazim, I would love to know your guys' thoughts for Rashford. I mean, because the only reason why I give him a 6 is because, okay, well, how about this? I'll give him a 6.5 because he was on for such a short amount of time and he came on and had that instant impact. Don't get me wrong. But, like, I mean, 6.5 seems like a kind of a fair rating for somebody that was only on for 15 minutes. And especially since we wound up losing the game still. Like, all ratings go down by a point when you lose the game. 6.5 rounds up to 7. That's funny, Jack. And Kazim, you're right. We are a disgrace. If Rashford was our man of the match, coming on for 15 minutes and doing that just shows how bad things have gotten at Manchester United. But, I mean, Matthew, we'll go ahead and we'll start wrapping this up. I mean, give me some of your final thoughts about the overall match and give me some of your initial thoughts for this upcoming match against Liverpool.
I think the game, in all honesty, was a missed opportunity. As you said, Valencia lost 2-0 to Young Boys. You know what that's like, right? It's like a girl texting you saying, I'm home alone, come over. You'd be like, nah, I've got studying to do. It's an absolute missed opportunity. That's
a pretty good comparison. I like that, Matthew.
I've tweeted it, in fact.
Oh, well, I'm going to retweet it for you.
Cheers for
that. So, just so you know, Doug Batshuayi did not score today.
Oh, you know what? I was listening to that in uni. Scared the shit out of me, so did. I was walking through the corridor, just going to class, and I just hear you screaming Batshuayi. I think, what's going on here?
Listen, Batshuayi actually did have a pretty decent game, and if it wasn't for
you pronounced it wrong.
What's that, Matthew?
You pronounced Batshuayi wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry, Batshuayi. Listen, I'm sorry, my bad. But Batshuayi actually did have a pretty decent game. If he had had better finishing, Valencia probably would have won 4 or 5 to 1, because he should have had a couple of goals today. He missed a wide open header, and then Bailly didn't close down close enough to Batshuayi. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do it every time now. He didn't close down close enough to him, and he almost put in a curler into the top right corner. So I just Batshuayi. Listen, I'm sorry, guys. I have to remember it every time. My bad. But listen, I mean, Matthew brings up a great point that we did screw ourselves out of being able to finish first. We did. We screwed ourselves out of being able to finish first in the group. And that, to me, is the reason why I'm pissed off. Because at the end of the day, we didn't expect to have the chance, to finish first today with Juventus playing against Young Boys. We thought Juventus was going to batter Young Boys. But yet, somehow, they lost, and we had our chance, and we blew it. Juventus lost 2-1. We should have won this game against Valencia, and that's where I'm pissed off, because at the end of the day, Manchester United should be beating a team like Valencia that is 15th in La Liga. 15th in La Liga. They're not a good team. And yet somehow we blew it. We blew it today. We could have finished first and been the team playing a lesser team. And I'm not saying that we're even going to get out of the round of 16 if we had finished first. I don't think that we're a good team. But after shithousing our way against Juventus and winning that game, we were lucky. We honestly are lucky that we did shithouse our way to that game, because right now we'd be going down to the Europa League instead of Valencia. We got lucky, guys. We got lucky to be able to be even in this final 16 of the Champions League. I mean, Matthew, we talked about that offline. The fact that we really are lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Like, guys, real quick. So Arthur's got to make his mandatory appearance. I'm sorry, guys. Come on.
It's the moment you're all waiting for.
This is the moment.
There he is.
Hey, Popeyes. He's very upset because I'm sure you guys saw the post. I found a lost dog today, and he still smells the lost dog on me. Bugs, you want to say hi to the people? Oh, thank you. Look that way. Okay. You want to get down? Thank you. So, guys, for our Manchester United versus Liverpool match, we will do our first ever Arthur picks. Because we're gonna have a big old show for this Manchester United Liverpool game, and Arthur's gonna pick who's gonna win the game. We'll figure out how Matthew and I will discuss it off air, but we're gonna let Arthur have his pick on the game.
You know what you can do? You can have 3 footballs, right? And one of them's a United win, one of them's a Liverpool win, the other is a draw. See what one he goes for first.
That's not a bad idea. We do have all that options. Probably wondering who the hell. Yeah, no. Listen, you're probably right, Ben. When he hears Batshuayi, he does start going like, "Whoa, what's this noise?" But guys, end of the day, we've got Liverpool coming up, which is the bigger match, and we've talked about it before. All form goes out the window in a derby, especially against Liverpool. We haven't lost to Liverpool in so long. It's been since 2013, if I remember correctly. And if it's not 2013, it's the 2013-2014 season. I know that for a fact. But it's been a long time. And this coming match it's huge for us. It's huge. So, Matthew, real quick, I mean, we're going to wrap it up here. Shout it all out, bro.
Yeah. So there's a few more days left of guaranteed Christmas shipping on the store. And I think for the UK, it's something like the 18th of December. And for the USA, it's another 2 days. So if you want to get some late Christmas presents, then you better do so quite quickly. I'm pretty sure the link's in the description, isn't it?
It is. It's always in the description, bro. And I did offsidegraphics.com because Matthew purchased his own domain name.
See, I'm a proper businessman now.
That's
like
right.
CEO.
See,
I'm Ed Woodward, actually.
I actually thought that you were. That's my bad. But
yeah, offsidegraphics.com. Head over to that. Have a look. I'll be putting up more posters, I think, in about a month's time, as it's part of one of my coursework for uni. So I'll obviously plaster it all over social media when I do that.
Yeah.
And speaking of social media, @_Matthew, have a follow.
That's in the description as well, guys.
1,050 followers, which is quite nice.
I just went over 4,000. I literally just saw that today.
Just steal my thunder, why don't you?
Listen, it's not my fault that I literally just had it happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay? But yeah, I mean, follow Matthew first because he needs to get to 4,000 because he deserves it. He deserves to get to 4,000. But guys, end of the day, I'm always gonna love Manchester United, but this game today was just a classic example of how frustrating it is to watch Manchester United at the moment. It just is. But we're gonna come back. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. We will come back. It's only a matter of time. Like, I can't help but have that positivity because if I didn't, I'd probably just wind up having to go watch something else. But I mean, end of the day, guys, we all love Manchester United, and we all know how bad it hurts to be this bad right now. We do. It hurts. But we will come back. We will. And let's see what we can do going into the round of 16, because once you get into the round of 16, you never know what can happen. But Matthew, thank you very much for joining me, my friend.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Always, bro. Always will have you on. And then, guys, thank you to everybody that tuned in today. We had all the way up to 34 people watching live today for something that's going on all the way up to almost midnight for you guys. Genuinely, thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining an American and a Scotsman for talking about Manchester United. I genuinely appreciate it. I love you guys. God bless you guys. Please drop a like on your way out. It would really, really appreciate it. And just have a good night, a good day, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. Just keep doing you guys, because genuinely, you guys are so awesome. Thank you guys so, so much.